Thanks for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. You can find us wherever you find podcasts or listen to music. When you have an opportunity, please give us a 5-star review, write a little note, tell us how we're doing. We really appreciate it. It helps us keep this thing going. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us at Facebook at Hidden Tracks. Instagram is at HiddenTracks99, and if you'd like to send in submissions or talk to us or give us any feedback about what we're doing, our email is myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show. Here we are, another week, another edition of Hidden Tracks. Today, I'm delighted to have Scott Ayotte from the awesome band Born Without Bones, and I will let him tell you exactly what genre he's going to fall under. So, Scott, welcome to the show, man. How you doing, brother?
Pretty good. Thanks, Shane. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Love what you're doing. And as I stated in that opening, I don't genre label anymore so I don't piss anybody off. So what genre would you say that Born Without Bones falls under? Or subgenre, or subgenre, or subgenre?
I would say I generally tell people that we're an emo rock band. I think that's usually the easiest way to kind of describe our band sound. But like, for example, yesterday I was talking to a guy that's like closer to my dad's age, and I was wearing an Aerosmith pin on my jacket, and he was like, "Oh, what does your band sound like?" And I was like, "Oh, like I grew up listening to a lot of classic rock, so it's kind of like a more, like, the way I put it to them is like it's a more modern interpretation of like classic rock, or like just rock and roll." I'll say that to like people my dad's age, and then people my own age I'll usually say emo rock.
Okay. Well, I like how you have two separate people that you're going to talk to and describe your music to. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, you have to gauge it, because sometimes you'll tell certain people like, "Oh, we're like an emo rock band," and they'll be like, "What's that?" Like, like, what are you talking about? Like, emo is just is like how I describe my kids when they're, I don't know, just in a bad mood or having a bad day. Like, I didn't know that was a genre of music. Like, I've gotten that plenty of times.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have started, like, with all these conversations I have with people about genres, it's literally everybody just going, yeah, alt rock. Like that,
Yeah.
that encompasses everything that someone needs to know of what the music may sound like.
I think it's almost easier, like every single time, to just compare your band to a different band. Like, instead of asking bands like, what genre would you put yourself in, it's more of like, what bands do you take influence from, or like, what bands do you think you sound like? Because that's almost easier for me. Like, I can if I'm talking to somebody my own age, I can be like, "Have you ever heard of Taking Back Sunday? Have you ever heard of Jimmy Eat World?" Like, those are the bands that I think that we sound maybe closest to, that the general public kind of is already sort of already aware of. So that's the easiest way to kind of tell them what Born Without Bones is about.
Yeah, and I think, the whole genre thing, and and the reason why it comes up a lot is because of all the different files that music falls under nowadays, and your Bandcamps of what you're going to fall under on Bandcamp's list when you click alt rock, and then all the subgenres come up underneath it, or if you need to get on a playlist on Spotify or Apple or Amazon, it's where what genre are you going to put yourself in to get the most access out of it.
Yeah, totally. So and that also depends. Like, we just did an EP this year that has like an acoustic song on it. So for like playlisting purposes, we're gonna kind of tag that as, maybe like chill acoustic indie rock, or something like that. So like the genre thing can even change song to song. It's not necessarily putting putting any one genre on any one artist, I find, is usually kind of tough. I mean, sure, there's plenty of artists that maybe fill their genre like really well, and that's kind of just what they do. But I think generally speaking, like indie rock, alt rock, like that kind of music, it has a range. It's not all kind of one thing. Everybody's making all kinds of different kinds of songs.
Yeah, and honestly, when it all comes down to it, it's fucking music, so just listen to it.
Right, exactly.
Now, Born Without Bones, why don't you give me a little bit of your story behind that? I know it started as a little solo project for you and then kind of grew. So, why don't you give me a little bit about why you decided to start Born Without Bones?
Yeah, so when I was in high school, I was in a couple like pop punk bands where I wrote the songs, and we did, just like demos and stuff like that, playing local shows, playing BFWs. And I kind of realized it was difficult at the time for me to be in a band. I mean, even now, like I'm not the best team player always. Like I definitely tend to lean towards like I have a kind of a control problem sometimes. And when I was younger, it was much worse than it is now. So those bands sort of fizzled out in my high school years, and basically by the time I got to senior year, I had already been in like up until that point I'd been in like 3 or 4 bands that didn't work out. And I had already started playing drums and bass and piano, like whereas guitar was kind of my main instrument growing up. So I started playing all these instruments and coming up with song ideas, and started hearing more of like arrangements in my head of how like we write a song, and like how would this sound if 4 people were playing it instead of just me like on an acoustic guitar. So I did a little solo EP that I don't think is anywhere. It's definitely not on Spotify. I don't know if it's like cruising around the internet somewhere, but I
It's
did.
got to be somewhere. If you ever put it somewhere on the internet, it's there to be found.
Yeah, that's true. Like there's actually so say the first Born Without Bones record, Say Hello, has a couple songs on it that were on this demo that I'm talking about. So like I went to this guy Jared's house in Leicester, Mass. He had a little recording studio in his parents' house. I recorded like 5 songs, and that was the first time that I recorded stuff where I was playing more than acoustic guitar and singing. Like I was playing drums, I was playing bass, I was doing all that stuff, sort of just layering myself like on top of each other. And I was probably 17 or 18 when I did that. And pretty quickly it was like, oh, I really do, I enjoy doing it this way. But I don't really feel comfortable so much putting my name on a t-shirt and trying to sell that. So um that's when like kind of the Born Without Bones name sort of started to come into play, just as a sort of some moniker to play under. And that's kind of how that all started. And then Say Hello, the first record, is like the first full album that I made where I was playing a bunch of instruments on. Previously, like in high school, like when I was 14, I did a solo record that was just acoustic guitar and singing that had like 10 songs on it. And then I did that again like my sophomore year. So I was probably 15. I made another like full length solo record, just guitar and vocals. But it wasn't until my late teens that I started recording like sort of traditional rock band songs, with drums and guitars and bass and all that good stuff.
Well, well, it seems like music's played a huge part in your life, especially if you're doing things as a freshman and sophomore and recording and doing things like that. When did music become something for you? Like, do you have like your first musical memory? Like, I remember the first time I heard something that wasn't a cartoon theme song or on Sesame Street or had to sing it in school, that I heard a song on the radio that just was like, wow, there's real music out there. Do you have a memory of that?
Absolutely. And that kind of tackles a few different times in my life.
Yeah,
So
because it changes as as you go on when you start to find other things.
yeah, for sure. But I guess the earliest memory would be like my best friend when I was like literally 5 or 6 years old, had gotten tickets to go see Hanson, and invited me, and I got to go see Hanson, basically at the height of like Bop and like all of the, their sort of the height of their career when they were really young. and I was at like probably a 20,000 person outdoor amphitheater to see them, and this friend had gotten particularly good seats, so like I was like third row off to the side, right in front of these huge speakers. And I just remember, you know, seeing the opening band and being like, I can't believe how loud this is. And then Hanson played, and it was insanely loud. Because if you've never sat up close at a show, like a big show like that, where there's towers of speakers.
Yeah.
That first experience is pretty incredible and like painful even, because it's just so damn loud. So, Hanson was definitely an early one. Like I remember they did a song for an Eggo commercial, and they had put out a cassette single for Bop, and on the other side was the Lego commercial song. So that was like one of the first like physical pieces, like formats of music that I ever owned. It was probably the very first.
That's awesome. And I'm going to stop you with the Hanson thing real quick, because I've said it before on this show. So Hanson's recording music again, and they put out a song called Against the World a couple months ago.
Cool.
If you're bored one day, check it out.
I stuck with Hanson. I didn't like stick with them I wasn't like a super fan or anything, but I was really into Disney Channel original movies when those were happening. And I remember Hanson had kind of started to have their resurgence when they were in maybe their late teens, early 20s. And there was a couple songs of theirs that ended up in those Disney Channel original movies that I actually really liked. And my bass player's wife is actually a massive, absolutely massive Hanson fan. I believe she's like in the Hanson fan club. Actually, when they got married, when Jim and Elizabeth got married, they had Jonathan, the other guitar player in Born Without Bones, and we actually played a Hanson song. And it's not like a song that is on like a major release of theirs. It's like from
it's a deep cut.
It's a fan club like exclusive song that they had us play for when they were walking down the aisle. It's a really wonderful song. It's just like a really nice like love song. So yeah, Hanson has just been around in my music life forever.
Their new song Against the World, I got to tell you, it is one of those things I played for a couple people, and I just played it and I didn't tell anybody what it was, and they're like, "What is this?" I'm like, "It's fucking Hanson, guys. It's
super
awesome.
Talented band, super talented guys, sincerely." So that was my first concert. But then I remember, so my mother's brother, my uncle Mark, he passed away when I was 10 years old, and he was like the goofy family member, the one that you were always excited to see at like Christmas and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the Funkle, as we call it.
Yeah, exactly. And so when he passed away, 10-year-old me, or actually I must have been 9 at the time. For some reason, my like reaction to it was like I started writing like poetry type stuff, and like I didn't call it poetry. I always called them songs. Like the first thing I wrote after he passed, like I called it a song, even though it didn't have like music to it, and I didn't have any music ability at the time, but I called it a song, which then prompted me to go and start kind of picking up guitar, because I was like, well, I have this song, so I need to learn how to play music so I can play my song. Unfortunately, his death is kind of what prompted me diving in music. I think it was just the way like I chose to cope when I was a young kid. That was just the only way that I really could kind of cope with that sort of loss at an early age.
Well, and honestly, we've all in this world had dealt with horrible things that have transpired in our life, but as long as you can find that something good that may come of it, and you may not find it immediately, it could be 10 years down the road, but that just makes it to the point where you're like, okay, it sucks, but this is what came. And for you, it was guitar.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was. He passed away, and music was kind of how I filled that hole. And and that sort of thing persisted. I lost a lot of family members early. Like, I don't I'm 30 now. I don't have any aunts or uncles. I don't have any grandparents. Like, I don't have I'm lucky to have my immediate family still. Like, I have my mother, I have my father, I have my brother. But that's about it.
Wow.
Like, yeah, so I lost a lot of family really early on, and music was the sort of thing that I gravitated to, that kind of you just helped me cope with all that loss and kind of filled the void inside, I guess.
Now, speaking on, since music is so emotional and it's a touching thing, and if this is too personal, you don't have to answer. But when you are upset or sad, what do you gravitate towards to when it comes to music? Do you go to something sad or something happy, or is it just depends on what catches you at that time?
It depends. It's not really. It's definitely a mixed bag, and that totally changes the older you get. When I was dealing with a breakup in my 20s, it was definitely acoustic guitar late at night in bed with by like laptop light, like that sort of idea. Whereas now, like, I've been in a very healthy, incredibly fulfilling relationship for 5, almost 6 years now. So
Good for
like,
you.
I don't, I don't have that same feeling that I had when in my early 20s at all anymore. Now it's like my love life is like probably the happiest part of my life. Like, um I guess now, like, when I'm dealing with stuff now that I'm like, maybe angry or upset or something, like, I feel like I just kind of do more typical mental health checks on myself. Like, I'll go on a walk, I'll go to the gym and work out for an hour. I'll journal.
Yeah.
I'll do
Put your
those sorts
energy
of things.
elsewhere.
Yeah, because no matter what, every week I'm playing music a bunch. Like, Born Without Bones practices 3 times a week, and those practices are usually about 4 hours, 5 hours long. And then during the week, when I'm sitting in my kind of office studio space, I'm playing piano, guitar. I'm doing all that stuff. And yeah, sometimes what is actually happening in my life at the time, I'll write about, like, from an autobiographical sort of standpoint, which is how I've written most of the stuff that people have heard. Um, but the older I get, I'm also sort of trying to remove myself from that a little bit and get more into storytelling, or like just coming up with some kind of weird idea, letting whatever is kind of coming out sort of just lead me. Like, I don't know, I was writing a new song a couple of weeks ago, and the lyrics kind of came out as like I was writing about somebody that might be in like the CIA, because I'm like a big history buff, and like I really like reading about I like military history. I really like I've read books on like the FBI and the CIA. Like, I just, that stuff for some reason just really interesting to me. And yeah, this particular set of lyrics kind of, like, as I was writing, I was like, oh, this sounds like it's like written about like somebody that is just choosing to become like this anonymous sort of like secret agent. you know and that's like, that's not going on in my life. I promise I'm not a CIA spy.
Yeah, I
If
was
I'm
gonna say you're
spying on
writing
the
a
emo community.
yeah, your new album's gonna be a spy thriller album, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like, it's gonna be like the James Bond of emo albums.
That's what it should be called. James Emo Bond. There, I mean, you got the name already set.
Yeah, but yeah, so nowadays I'll kind of just let the sort of inspiration, or like the whatever, my little seedling of an idea for whatever I'm working on. Like, I'll usually let that sort of take the lead, rather than like my negative emotions. I try not to give my negative emotions as much space as I once did.
I mean, that's fantastic. A lot of people can't do that. It's extremely challenging to not focus on the negative when when something
Yeah.
negative happens. I've said it numerous times here that the one you get 99 great reviews and that one bad review you fucking just fixate on, and you
Yeah.
can't get out of it.
Yeah, I know. I feel that 100%. Like, I know about myself that I'm going to be a depressed person for the rest of my life. I've always, as long as I can remember, um, I've been a depressed person, and it's all about just sort of managing it and figuring out how to, how to just let the light in, how to lighten up in general, and just not fixate on the negativity, because it's wasted time. And like, I really, nowadays, I really believe that like action is the answer to anxiety and depression. You just got to go. You just got to get up. You got to do, and do what you think is going to make you feel fulfilled.
It's awesome, man. Now, so if you started so young at writing something and then wanting to play guitar, and we touched on it at the beginning, how it's hard for you to be in a group or such. I mean, how did you, when you're growing up and you start playing an instrument, you try to find buddies or neighbors or someone at school that you're like, hey, let's start a band. Was that like where you just went to right away, or was it just you're still going to do your solo thing? You'd said freshman and then sophomore, and then you kind of got into the band thing. What was it that brought you to being and playing with other people?
Well, when I initially started, I definitely did the sort of like, I need to find the kids at school that also play, guitar or drums or whatever. And, I played with my cousin really early on. My cousin is a drummer, and he got me into a lot of music. I got really into Green Day when American Idiot came out, and he was into more like underground, like real, like street punk stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, that it wasn't like so much of a stretch to go from like listening to Green Day to going to listening to um like Dead Kennedys, Operation Ivy, stuff like that. So I was playing with him a lot, and then I also had a classmate who is still like one of my best friends in the entire world, my buddy Zach. He's one of the first people I ever played music with. He really liked Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. I really liked Aerosmith. And we started playing together when we were in sixth grade. And we just, we basically covered those two bands like
Well,
relentlessly.
aren't you still in a cover band for Tom Petty?
Yeah. With Zach. With Zach. Zach is the leader of that band. And
Sorry if I
played.
blew something up here. You didn't want
No,
people to know.
no. I'm totally stoked on it. I love Tom Petty's music, and I love playing in that band so much. Like I have a really soft spot in my heart for like covering songs. Like
Mm-hmm.
if I wasn't in a band playing original music, I would be in a band playing cover songs, because I just love it. I love playing for people, and the kind of beauty of being in like a sort of cover tribute band is, people already know the songs. And with the Tom Petty band that I'm in, the Honeybees in particular, we're sort of coming at it from like a sort of jam band approach, where we'll play Tom Petty songs, but we'll take a section that we could jam on for 20 minutes if we wanted to. And like, I get to like play a lot of guitar solos. We can get really experimental, use a lot of weird guitar pedals. We have a keyboard player that brings like fucking 6 keyboards every show we play. So he's got like a whole array of sounds that he can mess with. Whereas like the Born Without Bone show, which is really fun and really fulfilling as well, but it's just totally different way. It's way more rehearsed. It's less of that sort of improv thing going on. But anywho, like, definitely started out young playing with people. And I kind of, I think just through playing with people when I was younger, things wouldn't always work out the way that I would want them to, or like I was feeling more ambitious than the people that I was playing with. So that's kind of when I started to do my own thing and like uh write my own songs and try to play all the instruments. I think being in a band in general is just so difficult. Like the idea that like 3 or 4 people can get together and have a very similar creative vision for songs, and make it work, and not like end up wanting to just like rip each other's head off like that. It is not easy at all. And when I was younger, I just did not have the patience for it, and I just needed to do my own thing. But I like, to be honest, the like especially the Say Hello era of the band, like that person, like speaking of myself, it's not somebody that I'm like I don't know what that person was on. Like what were you smoking, dude? Like I don't know how um my younger self had the like sort of the motivation to be like, nah, fuck it, I'm gonna write all these songs, I'm gonna do it by myself, I don't care, like I'm gonna go on tour acoustic by myself, whatever, like I'm gonna drive around the country like some weirdo at like 19 and just be doing that. I don't like, because now I'm 30 and I'm like, ooh, that sounds scary. I don't want to do that. But yeah, that's basically what was going down. I had tried playing with people. I had a couple bands not work out that like I was stoked on. Like I was stoked on the songs we were writing, but like for one reason or another, somebody wasn't committed, or people weren't getting along, or like people weren't ambitious to the point where they wanted to like try to make it real, because that was always the thing for me. Like music, I was like, oh, I want to do it for real. Like I don't want to just play for fun. Like I don't want to just like go play shows and have like a good time, and like it, like music isn't like a theme park for me. It's just like literally the only it's some of the only times that I really feel like my true self is like when I'm performing, especially performing for people. So I needed to find people that kind of felt the same way. And when you're that young, it's really hard to find anybody that is so like zeroed in on something. You know, most people are going to a college not knowing what they're going to major in. And I'm like, 15, 16 years old being like, yep, I want to play music for the rest of my life. That's like definitely what I want to do. So unless that's how you feel, then you probably don't want to play with you don't want to play with me if that's not how you feel.
Well, yeah, you got to look at it too. When it comes to bands are a marriage, and you look at a normal marriage that you're not always on the same page. And to think about how when bands start, you have to give so much credit to bands who got together when they were 17 and they're still performing now in their 50s, because that is a true marriage, because you're not always all going to be on the same page. Everybody has a different vision for something,
It's
and it's really
incredibly
hard and taxing, and to try and hold that together for a long period of time, or everyone to be on the same page. Everybody wants different things out of life, and when you find the couple people and that you can have a band with and form and put out some great music, you just got to enjoy it while it's there, because it may not be there for long.
Totally. I mean, I literally have friends that have like my buddy Bill that I play in the Honeybees with, the Tom Petty band. He has songs that he wrote that I'm like, yo, that's such a good song. Like I love that song. It gets stuck in my head. I think the lyrics are great. I think it's super catchy. And Bill is just like, yeah, but starting a band is like a lot of work. Like he gets the reality of it. Like
Yeah.
he understands that like starting a band is actually like a shitload of work. It's not just like fun and like loud guitars at like shitty bars. Like that's not like, it's so much more than that. And like such a small percentage of doing the band thing is actually playing. There's so much more to it. So he's sitting on these great songs and just being like, but he's got other things going on. He's a journalist. He's just a super creative guy in general. But he knows like through his own like bands that he's been in over time, and through me a little bit, like he knows like, oh man, like if I wanted to do this, like if you want to do anything, you should try to do it like semi legit, or like and he just knows that the band thing in general is just it's so hard. It's such a pain in the ass. It's fun though. It's fun.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to say
when,
it like
no,
it's a pain in the ass.
when it works. No, but that's the thing. It, it it could be a lot of fun, but it's a job, and it's quite often when you're starting out, it's a job you don't get paid to do. So
Definitely.
you put in all that work and effort, and it really, you have to love it to keep doing it. I mean, that's just the nature of the business.
For
With
sure.
anything really, same thing with this show. Don't get paid for it. I work my ass off on it. And it's not just you and I talking here for the hour that we're going to have together that I put into it. There's so much more that goes into it. But if you're not willing to understand that from the beginning, it's you're not really going to go very far, because it's going to get frustrating really fast.
Yeah, and I don't mean to like gatekeep or anything, but like, I couldn't agree with that more. Like, it's to me like I would tell any musician, like, hey, if you do not love it with your whole entire being, don't even bother trying to take it. Don't bother trying to do it like super legit, because it's painful.
It'll break your heart.
You will, yes, exactly. You will have your heart broken. So just make sure that you truly love it, and like you love it even when it sucks. Like you still, when things are going rough, like you still want to pick up the instrument that you're playing, or you want to still write that song or write that lyric or whatever. Like that's what it's about. It's about loving it when it's great and loving it when it's not.
Yeah, this is a great since you're a military history guy and I'm a veteran myself, you'll understand the saying where it comes from the military: love the suck.
Yeah.
You have to love the suck.
Yeah, you really do. No, that's absolutely true.
Touched on some of the bands growing up, playing with your cousin and everything. I need to know, what was the name of the first band you were ever in?
So the first band I wanted to make that didn't end up being a band was called Red Steel. I made a t-shirt for it. I had you'd get this like printer paper that you would print something out and you could like iron it onto a t-shirt. So I made a logo and everything. It was like a skull with bat wings. Like it was Red Steel. We had 0 songs. Like it was just me and Zach. I think we were just making a band name for us playing Aerosmith and Tom Petty covers in his basement. And then eventually we became Jet Black, really into colors, I guess, at this time. So we made Jet Black. Jet Black actually had some original songs. I was in a band called Some Kind of Conspiracy, which was like my own band, and I was trying to write like sort of Green Day style songs. I was really into this band called The Loved Ones at the time, and I was trying
Great band.
I was trying to write, Keep Your Heart had kind of just come out. And I had just seen them open for like NoFX and the Lawrence Arms in Worcester, and I was obsessed. So I was trying to write songs like The Loved Ones. Some Kind of Conspiracy didn't really last, and then I was in a band called Telfair, with like mostly old guys that are a bit older than me, but that were also like they were in bands that I had been kind of listening to when I was growing up, and we did a couple EPs. Definitely some great songs in there that I'm still really proud of, and I really enjoyed playing in that band. But that kind of thing fizzled out. And those are kind of the big ones. Like Jet Black had some original songs. Some Kind of Conspiracy had a demo. Telfair had a couple EPs, and basically after all that was done is when I kind of started to do the Born Without Bones thing.
But Red Steel was the name of your very first band.
Absolutely. Red Steel. Or if you want to go way back.
No, way back. I need the very first time you said this is a band and you named it. That's what I need.
All right. Okay. So third grade, I was heavy into the boy band thing. So I really liked NSYNC. I really liked Backstreet Boys, Britney Spears. I liked them all. I was a huge fan. Like, got No Strings Attached by NSYNC day it came out. Got Oops, I Did It Again day it came out. So during recess, third grade, like either myself or this kid Jeremy would bring a boombox to school, and we would just play Backstreet Boys songs and like NSYNC songs and come up with our own dance routines, and like we would sing along to the CDs off the boombox. And our band's name was Boys One, because we were trying to be like a boy band, so it was Boys One. And
Boys One. Awesome. So we're going to edit it to be Red Steel. So
yeah. So Boys One, Red Steel, Jet Black, Some Kind of Conspiracy, Telfair, like all just trash band names. And then Born Without Bones, not much better.
You brought up your first concert you went to, which was Hanson, which is awesome. I don't have to ask that question, but here's a question. Do you have a show that you went to that was your favorite show you ever attended?
Oh, that's really tough. That's really tough. There's a few that kind of come to mind. First time I saw Aerosmith, it was Aerosmith, Kid Rock, Run DMC at Great Woods in Mansfield. Huge show. And it's just crazy that I now I have the sort of perspective to appreciate that I got to see Run DMC. So that was really special. Trying to think of some others. First time I saw Green Day was at Worcester Centrum. It was Green Day, Sugar Cult, and Newfound Glory. That was super
It's a great show.
Yeah, that made a huge impact on me at the time. Because it was before that I'd kind of only gone to Worcester Centrum is a giant venue, don't get me wrong, but before that I had only seen shows that were even bigger than that. Only been to amphitheater or stadium shows. For some reason that was just the way it went. My first concerts were Hanson, Matchbox 20, Aerosmith a bunch of times. And then I saw Green Day at the Centrum, which was a little smaller, just a little bit. And I was like, oh, this is way more. There's so much more energy. There's people crowd surfing the entire time. There's multiple mosh pits going on. And then after that, I started going to see smaller bands. I saw Anti-Flag, I saw NoFX. And that's when I really got introduced to the sort of punk rock energy of these smaller shows,
the club shows.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I'm definitely missing some really good ones. I saw Bright Eyes on the Casadega tour in 2007 at the Palladium. That was really special. I saw Paul McCartney at Fenway Park with my mom when I want to say 17. And my parents are both huge Beatles fans. My mom got me Beatles White Album when I was 10 years old on my birthday. So seeing Paul McCartney, I'm not even ashamed to admit it. When I was seeing Paul McCartney at Fenway, we had great seats because we were calling Ticketmaster at the back when you could call them to get tickets. We were as soon as they went on sale, we were ready. And we got great seats, and I was crying like a baby at that entire show. I've never in my life cried at a show, but Paul McCartney, every other song, I was just sobbing like a child, because it was I'm hearing songs that I grew up on, songs that made me fall in love with music in the first place, and my mom's right there. I was just, it was so special. That's probably the best show I've ever seen. And MGMT opened up that show, and they were actually really, really, really fucking good. They kind of did they did their thing, but they were from seeing them versus listening to their records. It was more of a rock, psychedelic rock band versus an electronic band.
Yeah,
so
their recorded music is very electronic, but I've seen MGMT as well, and it is it's a rock show, and it's totally different, and I think for me it's so much more fun that way.
I agree. Yeah, I loved their set. They were awesome, and then Paul did his thing and made me cry.
Opening up some doors here.
Yeah. So there's still some Beatles songs that are just if I I don't know, if I had to act in something and they were all right, in this scene you need to cry. It's oh, there's a couple Beatles songs I could just throw on real quick and boom, tears. I'm ready to film this shit,
Yeah, no, I have that too. If I need to cry, there's some points, and I can stand here with my masculinity still intact and say there are some times when I really need to cry, and it'll make me feel better. I know what songs I'm going to.
Yeah, it's weird. I have really weird ones with that now. I'm not a crier in general. Things in life don't make me cry, but music still does. But weird things, I'll be listening to Voodoo Child by Jimi Hendrix, which is not an emotional song on the surface, but like for me, this sounds so nerdy, but for me as like a guitar player, that is to me one of the best recordings of guitar playing ever made. The emotion in the way Jimmy's playing on that recording, like when I hear it, I just it like brings tears to my eyes because I'm just like, it just moves me. It really does. Same thing with I Feel the Earth Move by Carole King. Not a super emotional song, but it's just the like veracity in her voice, and just the sound of somebody giving a fuck is like so, it means so much to me. Like just hearing somebody play their instrument or sing or whatever, and just you just hear that they mean it, that really that can bring a tear to my eye
Well, you
still.
can feel the soul in a song. I mean, because
Absolutely.
you're encompassing the soul that they put into it, and it's a feeling that when it happens, it's one of those things where if that first time you hear something or feel something, if you could bottle it and store it away for another day, I mean, that would be like, that's the greatest thing I could ever think of.
Totally. Yeah. So it's not always the like, sad breakup songs. Sometimes it's Voodoo Child. Like sometimes it's just somebody playing their instrument really well, and that just gets me for some reason.
Have you ever had that type of moment? Like we just talked about, you seeing live shows. Was there a show that you ever performed, and when you were done and you walked off stage, you just felt like, wow, that was different than anything else I've ever done? Have you ever had that?
Yeah, there's a few times. The first the first time was actually with that band Telfair I was talking about earlier. We played um we played a show in Worcester. It was a benefit for this incredibly talented guy, Don Mallory. He passed when he was like 24, and he was a singer in a hardcore band in Mass called Last Lights. And he died like tragically, like shortly after a set that he had played. And there was a bunch of benefit shows that went for him. And Telfair, I don't know why we did it, but we covered My Own Worst Enemy by Lit at this show. And I mean, these shows were super packed out for Dom. And I just remember people going totally nuts when we covered that. And it was like sort of like it was, I think playing it was a kind of a good idea, because it was like a definitely a very sad time for all of us, because like we just had this like young guy in our music community pass. But like playing a sort of like lighthearted 90s cover, like people just went insane. And like even to this day, I don't think I've ever experienced that, because Born Without Bones is not the band that people go ape shit to. Like we're still like very much a head bobbing band, maybe get a few people jumping around, or whatever. But yeah, at that time we played My Own Worst Enemy at the Dom show. That was insane. And then I guess there was a couple. I played guitar in Hotelier for a while. I played on a few of their records, and we did some crazy shows together, like that are super memorable. Like I got to play Boston Calling with them, and that was just insane. Like that's the only festival I've still ever really played where you're playing on like a giant stage, and that was really special. We played with Title Fight at the Metro in Chicago before we went to Europe. So it was like, not only are you going to Europe for a month, but right before you do that, you get to fly to Chicago and open up for Title Fight at the Metro. Like,
Yeah.
to dream come true. And shout out Title Fight, one of the best to ever do it, in my opinion. But then for Born Without Bones, we actually this year we played a show at this like once ballroom was a venue in Somerville, Mass, that we've played a few times, and those folks sort of sponsored like a summer outdoor concert series in this parking lot called the Boynton Yards in Cambridge or Somerville, that area. And that was in, I think that was in July this year. And it was just like we played our album Baby front to back, and there's just like a ton of people there, tons of friends, and like for the first time, like really seeing people like go off to like certain songs, like that was really crazy to see. Like it's just not something that we're used to at all. Like we're used to just being, the kind of chill, or not chill rock band, but like being the band that not, people aren't there necessarily to see us. Maybe they're just kind of hearing us for the first time and they're like pleasantly surprised. But like that time it was like they're here to see us and they're going nuts, and this is crazy. Like it's just not something that we have experienced like a ton.
Well, I mean, it's got to be. I mean, that feeling is one of those feelings that if you could bottle it, you would just pour it on you every day you woke up.
Totally, for sure.
You brought up getting to open for Title Fight, but is there a band that you were ever opened for, or that opened for you, that you were able to stand back and just watch and just be in awe of them the entire time?
Yeah, for sure. Hotelier also played shows with Jimmy Eat World, and so that was cool just to see a band that has like actually been doing it for a long time. Like they have, they have history behind them, and they've done it at a level that one can only dream of. And just to seeing how their like sort of machine keeps rolling and how it works, like it was eye-opening and inspiring at the same time. Like it's not all, even at that, at that level, when you're younger you kind of think it's all like glamour and like it's all maybe it gets easier, but I mean those dudes work their asses off and they play their asses off. Like they're still ripping gigs like like a new band would, like trying to get people to get get into them. They're that damn good. I mean, yeah, I'm watching Title Fight. I I was like teching on a tour for Hotelier that they were on with Law Dispute and Title Fight. In both bands, like there were just certain nights where it was just like, oh my god, like Law Dispute would play the song King Park, and just in certain places, like that song would just like be, the crowd reaction was, stuff you just don't see very much. And yeah, and just Title Fight was just banging every night, so good. And then for Born Without Bones, like who we played with that like really, I mean, our friends bands, like especially a lot of our friends bands, like seeing them now as opposed to like when they first started. Like I saw probably some of the first Prince Daddy shows, and now Prince Daddy's been around for a few years, and just to see where they started, like having been there at the beginning and like being there now,
Yeah.
it's pretty amazing. And just to see, like just to see the general they got so much better at performing, better at writing songs. Seeing that is honestly really inspiring. Like you get to know these people, and then over the years just see them sort of blossom into something totally new and totally awesome.
Yeah, you get to watch them mature right before your eyes. And
yeah, it's that's special. Same thing with with Oso Oso. We were touring with State Lines, Jade's band, before he started Oso Oso, and same deal. It was just like got to see where it started and see where it is now. It's super inspiring, and I'm stoked to be like, having been in Born Without Bones now for 10 years, to have like sort of comrades that have also been in it like equal amount of time, and they're still doing it and still happy to be doing it, still trying to write better songs. Like I love that. I'm glad that still exists, because there's so many bands that when I first started playing music, and then bands that existed when Born Without Bones first started, that just aren't around anymore. It's a huge list. It's crazy to think of all the bands. Like, if you'd asked me at 20, like, oh, like what bands from this scene would you love to play shows with? Like, if that whole list doesn't exist anymore, which is, it's just crazy. It really is crazy.
Now, let's get into something Born Without Bones that this could be a two-parter, but the first thing I'm going to ask is If someone had never heard your band before, what song of yours would you play for them?
Um, I'd probably play. I'd probably go Canceled. Yeah, because I remember when we were first even getting it mastered. That like typically what happens when a band is getting their album mastered, the mastering engineer will send you a song, like one of the songs back first, to be like, hey, this is how I'm planning on mastering your album. For for those who are listening that might not know what mastering is, it's basically essentially it's just making a recording the proper volume so that it's loud enough, and that like by comparison listening to other music on Spotify or wherever, that it's not way quieter or way louder. Um, and when we were having Baby mastered, Canceled was the first song that the mastering guy, Dan Coutant, sent back. And he sort of sent it, he did that one first, like, cause he was just like, yeah, this is the one that kind of stuck out to me. And I've always really enjoyed that song. I love playing it live. And it's, like a lot of our like more popular songs are actually like the really chill kind of mellow ones, and like that's great. And I think that happens for a lot of bands. Like people just kind of people get attached to the more mellow, more, I don't know, personal sort of stuff. And our band has a lot of like rockin' songs, and like, to be honest, most of our fans don't seem to give a shit about our more rocking music. But
I disagree.
luckily, thank you. I'm glad you dig it. But most people seem to like our more mellow sort of stuff. But for some reason, Canceled has always kind of floated to the top, and that's not really a mellow song. And I think it's kind of, it hits a sort of, it hits a dynamic that, if you like 90s alt rock, if you like, I don't know, cool, interesting chords, jazzy stuff, it's got a little bit of something for everybody in it. It's got a guitar solo. I don't find it's not offensive lyric subject matter like some of our other songs. So it's yeah, I'd probably go Canceled, or I really like Romance and Wishing Well from Young at the Bend. I'm really proud of those songs from like a songwriting standpoint.
Yeah, that was going to be so the second part of it, because sometimes it's the same song. But is there a song that's your favorite song that you've released so far?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it would be, yeah, it'd be Romance or Wishing Well. Those are way up there. Just because of the way they came about. Like those are two examples of songs that like I was lucky enough to kind of just have fall from the sky. Like both songs were written in 5-10 minutes, like just really really quick. Didn't require a whole lot of effort. It just felt like it was kind of just like, here you go, Scotty. Here's some songs for you and to show your friends. It was yeah. So I tend to lean towards those ones. Those are the best ones. The ones that feel special are often the ones that come the easiest.
All right. Well, segueing from falling out of the sky, a meteor is going to crash into the earth. You have 5 minutes left to live, and you have to listen to one song. What one song would you listen to?
Well, if I have 5 minutes, I could probably squeeze in two. But but for the sake of the question, my favorite song of all time is "Rocky Raccoon" by the Beatles. I love it. It's yeah, that would definitely be it.
Wow, you're so far, you win the award for fastest answer.
I think I'm almost positive I could give you my top 5 favorite songs of all time, like right now.
Go.
Almost positive. Rocky Raccoon, number 1. For sure. It's just lyrically speaking, it's tells a story almost similar to the movie Rocky. Uh Oddly enough, and that's like probably my favorite movie. I would put Voodoo Child by Jimi Hendrix in my top 5, for sure. Just like ever since I heard it as a kid, it's always kind of been in rotation. There's a song by the Everly Brothers called "Long Time Gone." I don't think it's an original, but I like their interpretation of it a lot. And I just think it's like, it's like one of those songs where it's like, what song do you want played at your funeral? and yeah, long time gone is mine for sure.
I don't have to ask that question now. It's one of our questions. So boom, done.
Boom, done. Make It by Aerosmith. So Aerosmith, Make It. It's the first song on their first album. Joe Perry, their guitar player, is probably like my childhood hero. He grew up in Hopedale, Massachusetts. I grew up in Milford, Massachusetts, which is the town over from Hopedale. So when I was growing up and found out that like there's this guy, Joe Perry, he plays in Aerosmith. He was literally used to go to school like, down the street from you, and he's a huge rock star. Like it gave you that like feeling like, oh, I can do it too. Like some kid from Hopedale can be in some sick rock band. Like I can definitely do that too. So
yeah, they're not from Chicago, LA, New York, or DC,
right. Right. Yeah. They're from some shitty suburb like you are, and like you can do it too. And then there's a song by Pato, Patto. It's called The Man. I love that song so much. The lyrics are awesome. There's like a insane like vibe solo, like vibraphone in it. And just the lyrics really just they get me. So those would probably I think I named 5. So I think those would be my 5.
Do you have a band that's never let you down?
I got a
Rolling
few.
Stone calls it favorite band, but I call it a band that's never let you down.
I got a few that have never let me down. This might be surprising. Vampire Weekend is a band that's never let me down. They have 4 full lengths out, and I like all of them very much. There's not a lot though. I mean, even like all my favorite bands of all time, for the most part, and especially now, because a lot of my favorite bands of all time are still going now.
Yeah, and they're still writing music.
They're not exactly making the best stuff that they have ever made. So that's a little tough. But Vampire Weekend was definitely the first one that came to mind for that. Just they have 4 records: the self-titled Contra, Modern Vampires of the City, and then Father of the Bride. And I really, really, really like all 4 a lot.
Well, you said it was surprising that that you said Vampire Weekend. Is there something that would be surprising to somebody that you get tons of enjoyment out of listening to that no one would think you would love it?
I'm just not I just feel like our band doesn't really write music that sounds like Vampire Weekend. Like we're not like I don't think of us as like a poppy indie rock band at all. And I think people would be more like, oh, you really like Brand New, or you really like Taking Back Sunday. That's like completely obvious. But for some reason, Vampire Weekend, I've just always loved the melodies, the sounds that they get. The production's always super cool. They're really outside of the box. They're always kind of doing their own thing. I can't really name other bands that sound like them. And I've been on them like since the beginning. Like I remember when A-Punk came out, and I was like, whoa, this is like I was kind of into ska at the time, so I was like, whoa, this is like hipster ska. Like I dug it for that reason, and like that was my entry. And then like Contra came out and had a bunch of awesome songs on it. Like even when I play like acoustic shows, like I'll cover a few of their songs. Always been a big fan. Yeah, there's like a bunch that like up until recently or like in the past like 3 or 4 years that I was like, yep, I love everything. And then they put out something in the past couple years and I was like, don't love everything anymore. There's another guy, Michael Kiwanuka. He's this dude
he's from England.
UK. Yeah, fucking love his music.
He's amazing, and I'm surprised at the amount of people that I say his name to that don't know who he is.
Yeah, he hasn't really popped off in the United States. For what reason I honestly don't know why. I Home Again, awesome. Love and Hate, awesome. And then the new one, Kiwanuka, very, very good. Great production, great songwriting. Love his shit. Absolutely love his shit.
Yeah, I mean, I explained him to someone when I was like, I go, have you ever heard of Gary Clark? And they're like, yeah. I said, okay, take Gary Clark with Otis Redding's voice.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
I'm like, and there's Michael Kiwanuka.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's super good. He's one of those artists that I'll like. You know, if somebody's like, "Hey, I need some new music that like I haven't heard before," like I'll usually he'll be on the list, especially if it's somebody that's into like cool sounding records. Like oh man, he puts the coolest sounding shit in his songs. It's inspiring. It's like cool that there's still musicians out there like that are making like rock oriented music and still just like, yep, I want to use weird vintage gear and make weird noises in my song and just yeah, like kind of like have this nostalgia factor, like where you're listening to it and you're like, man, I've heard this before, but you haven't. Yeah, that's the coolest thing that you can
Yeah,
coolest thing you can make happen in music.
he creates the time machine you put on his record because it's made to be played on vinyl, and
Totally.
you put it on, and all of a sudden it's 1973.
Yeah. Yeah. When I first heard Home Again, I was like, how did they even do this? This sounds like it came out 30 years ago. Like the only other artist that similar deal was Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings. Huge fan, love them. Their records sound so old and they came out in like 2005, 2006 and they just somehow nailed that sort of classic vintage sound.
Now we'll get to one of our last questions. Kept you here long enough, held you hostage. Do you have a moment in your life that was surrounded by music that is one of your favorite memories to music?
Hmm. Um, I think, I mean, really all the times that we've recorded, that's like such a good feeling, especially when you're getting towards the end of the process and it's like really kind of coming together. Uh I remember like the last day of recording Baby with Jay Robbins and like eating Greek pizza and just like finishing up the mixes and just feeling really accomplished in a nice way. I remember like once it was like actually mixed and stuff, Jay, the guy who engineered and helped produce the record, he sent me a really nice text message that I'll never forget. That really that meant a lot to me because I was really young. I was like 21, and Jay Robbins like recorded some of my favorite albums ever. Dismemberment Plan, Emergency, and I is like top 10 for me. And he did that record, and that was like a big part of the reason why I even reached out to him in the first place to record us. And he was down. So just working with him in general was a dream. When I got to play with Hotelier and open for Jimmy Eat World, that meant a lot to me. Like I got to play at the Wiltern in Los Angeles and open for them. And I prior to that, I mean, I'd seen Jimmy Eat World at the Boston Orpheum. I saw them at Gillette Stadium open for Green Day. I saw them with Paramore and Deer in the Headlights at the Songus Arena, like all those shows when I was growing up. So playing with them, like it was just like you're here, you made it. It's just like a sort of like that was like a life affirming experience for sure. And then I wrote a song for my girlfriend Madison. I wrote a song for her birthday a few years ago. And basically like we got to like our Airbnb and like I played the song for like I didn't physically play it. Like I made a CD and like made artwork for it and stuff, and then like I just played it over some like speaker or something. And just seeing her reaction to the song that I wrote for her, I mean, like I'll never forget that. Like just seeing like because like from my experiences now, like I'll play a show and we'll play like Baby or The Camera Turns or something, and it'll mean something to somebody in the audience, and maybe somebody will be tearing up or just reacting emotionally to it. But to see Madison emotionally react to something that I wrote for her, that that was really meaningful to me. And again, like life affirming. It's like, all right, if I can make the person I love the most in this world like tear up at like some words that I wrote for them, like I'm still in good shape. I'm still putting out good things into the world.
Yeah. Those are some great moments, man.
Yeah.
So what I want to do right now is I want to give you an opportunity to tell everybody how to find everything that you're doing right now, how to find all the Born Without Bones stuff on the air.
Yeah. So Born Without Bones, Milford, Massachusetts, been a emo rock or modern classic rock band for 10 years now. You can find all of our music on Spotify. Basically, if you search Born Without Bones into Google, YouTube, you name it, you will find us. And usually, unfortunately, people literally born without bones. So just try to block that out when you're searching for us. It is just the unfortunate nature of our band name. But yeah, you can find us anywhere. Spotify is usually the joint, and yeah, YouTube. There's a bunch of get on YouTube and look at some old videos of me. You'll see some videos of me when I'm like 19 and chubby and got some acne still kind of recovering. So yeah, so I would say find Born Without Bones on Spotify and YouTube.
All right. So let's get into our last segment here. It's our weekly threes. We have 3 things that you're listening to right now that you'd like somebody to check out, and you go first. So pull up your Spotify playlist and pick the 3 things you're listening to right now that you'd like somebody to check out.
Okay, so this week, totally obsessed as of late with the Beastie Boys. I was late to the Beastie Boys catalog, but they're like my favorite band right now. I would say check out Paul's Boutique, the album Paul's Boutique. Check out the songs Shake Your Rump, Eggman, and probably Hey Ladies on that album. Unreal. So good. I am also listening to I'm pulling up my Spotify now. I've been listening to Mama Said by Lenny Kravitz. Big love for Lenny. Been a Lenny fan since I was a kid.
I have mad love for Lenny, and I've always said to people, I go, if you go get his greatest hits album, there's like 32 tracks on it, and you will be surprised that you know every single one.
Absolutely. He is. I just think he's so fucking awesome. I really, really like the Questlove Supreme podcast. He interviewed Lenny Kravitz and did it's like a 2-parter. Great interview. Such a cool dude. Great history. So I'm listening to his album. Mama Said. It has this song "It Ain't Over Till It's Over" on it. It's got "Always on the Run." And it opens with a song called Fields of Joy. That's a really beautiful song. And then my last one will be I'm just gonna quickly shout out a couple things that my friends have put out. Sup by Super American, good buddies of ours. We share a drummer in Sam Checkaway. And they put out a really cool record, especially if you like, Blink 182. If you like lyrics that'll give you a good chuckle, but also make you feel good. That's a good one. And then Prince Daddy put out a song called Curly Q. That's really, really just beautiful. It's a great song. I think you should listen to it.
Got it. My turn. My 3 for this week. My first is a band called Knox Hamilton out of Little Rock, Arkansas. They're like indie pop rock. Really good it's got like an uplifting sound to it, little 80s tinge to it, but there's an album called The Heights that I've been digging on all week. My second one is a band called Jared and the Mill. As in all bands, unfortunately, they broke up this year. So no new music coming from them. But if you want to listen to something, the album This Story is no longer available, which, they broke up. But they're kind of like a Americana rock and roll band.
Sick. Excited to check that out.
And last but not least, a band called Rarity. They're a Canadian post-hardcore band. I'll throw that moniker out there instead of emo. But E is not a bad word. But their album, The Longest Lonesome, been digging on that this week too. So those are my 3 for this week.
Sick, man. I'm going to check those out. I just gave them a nice big heart on my Spotify app.
Nice. Well, Scott, I want to thank you so much for being here. Want to also say thank you for the music you have put out so far and giving me enjoyment. Thank you so much for that.
Hey, no, thank you for listening. Our band up until this year was 100% DIY. We did everything ourselves. We signed to Pure Noise this year.
Which is awesome. Congratulations to that. Great label, great stuff they're putting out. Good people. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been honestly been a great experience thus far. But up until this year, we were 100% a DIY band, and the only thing, Pure Noise might be paying the bills now, but before this year, it was the people listening to our bands paying the bills. So that's we're forever in debt to the people that supported us for the first 10 years of our band's life. We would not exist whatsoever if it weren't for the folks that are, still give a shit. So appreciate you listening to our music and being an early supporter.
Well, you keep creating and we'll keep listening.
I'm going to do my best.
Well, everybody, you know what time it is now. Go out, listen to Born Without Bones, and have a great fucking time.
I'll try to stay out of your way and admire you from across the room, 'cause I love to stare at your face. I won't apologize for things that I did or anything said, 'cause I expect you to do the same. But don't forget that I'm the only one left who still tries to get in your head. I don't appreciate your fake smiles. I don't. I won't laugh at your stupid jokes. I won't. Has time broken your soul? I think it's time for you to let go. You're insane and canceled in my brain. And we both took our respective jokes too seriously. But how long can you stay mad at me without looking up from the drunken slouch on the couch? Sitting across from me, tell me, is it really that easy to forget that I'm the only one left who still wants to bite into your flesh? I don't appreciate your fake smiles. I don't. I won't laugh at your stupid jokes. I won't. Has time broken your soul? I think it's time for you to let go. You're insane and canceled in my brain. Whoa. And how is it fair when I don't even talk to you? You hear what I say and dismiss the things that I can't prove. I was such a fool to ever believe in you. I don't appreciate your fake smiles. I don't. I won't laugh at your stupid jokes. I won't. Has time broken your soul? I think it's time for you to let go. You're insane. Canceled in my brain. Whoa.
Thanks again for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. We hope you enjoyed this week's show. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at HiddenTracks99. Also, send all your submissions myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Tune in next week. You may find your new favorite band, and don't forget to go out and have a great fucking time.